Alyssa, call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater, Schnelting, Brown, Gregory, Shore, Washington, Weber.
Quorum being established, we're going to go into executive session. I make a motion to move into executive session. Do I have a second? Having a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're in executive session. I move that Senate Bill 942 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. This bill is presented by Senator Brown. It allows vehicles to exceed weight limits by up to 10% in certain circumstances. Discussion. Hearing none, I move that we vote Senate Bill 942 do pass. Do I have a second? Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater,
Aye.
Schnelting, Brown, Gregory, Shore, Washington, Weber.
By your vote of 5-0, you voted that motion prevails. Motion carries. I move that Senate Bill 1544 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. This bill is presented by Senator Nurrenbern. It designates firefighter, paramedic Graham J. Hoffman Memorial Highway. It's written here twice, I promise. I don't think it's going to be that twice on the sign. Is there any discussion on that bill? Hearing none, I do move that we vote Senate Bill 1544 do pass. Do I have a second? Second. Having a second, Alyssa, call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater,
Aye.
Schnelting, Brown, Gregory, Shore, Washington, Weber.
I vote. By your vote of 5-0, that motion carries. I now move that we vote Senate Bill 1544 consent. Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater,
Aye.
Schnelting, Brown, Gregory,
Aye.
Shore, Washington, Weber.
By your vote of 5-0, that motion carries. I now move that Senate Bill 1629 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. I presented this bill last week. It's a technical fix to the underground facilities bill that passed last session. Any discussion on that bill? Hearing none, I move that we vote Senate Bill 1629 do pass. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Any further discussion? Let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater,
Aye.
Schnelting, Brown, Gregory,
Aye.
Shore, Washington, Weber.
By your vote of 5-0, that motion carries. I now move that we vote Senate Bill 1629 consent. Do I have a second? Second. Having a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater,
Aye.
Schnelting, Brown, Gregory,
Aye.
Shore, Washington, Weber.
By your vote of 5-0, that motion carries. I now make a motion to exit executive session. Do I have a second? Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're out of executive session, and now we're going to move on to public hearing. We got a bunch of bills today, and we have about 80 minutes to get them done, and Senator Weber, who wants to flee as quick as he can. So, and he has a bill. We're going to start with the House bill representative. Hop up here and present House Committee Substitute for House Bills 1838, 1692, 1695, 1980. I'm not all those. Just go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Chair members. Appreciate you hearing my bill. Let me see. Let's get you out of here fairly quick. My name is Kelley, District 127. I have counties Barton, Dade, Cedar, and Jasper. So these bills, House Committee Substitute 1692, 1695, 1838, 1983, 2036, and 2662 to make sure everybody gets credit. These bills will remove regulatory inspection requirements for all vehicles except commercial vehicles, prior salvage vehicles, and vehicles subject to 307.380 RSMO, which is if it's been in an accident or whatever, then they still have to be inspected. Eliminating vehicle regulatory inspections is a way we can reduce unnecessary burdens on citizens, like the other 38 states that have already done so. Studies have shown that mandatory inspections do not significantly correlate with a decrease in accidents or fatalities. Many states have successfully eliminated inspections without experiencing a rise in vehicle-related incidents. Also, with advancements of automotive technology, many newer vehicles are equipped with built-in diagnostics that alert owners to maintenance issues, making inspections less relevant. And with that, I will close and take any questions.
Any questions for the sponsor? Seeing no, oh, Senator Gregory, go ahead.
So I've actually talked with quite a few dealers and people that pull inspections on this, and they also own tow truck companies. And I hear they say, we understand why people want to get rid of it, but we think it's a bad idea. Was there any talk like that in the House committees?
Of course there is, but you're talking, this is a moment of time that you have your inspection done. Anything can happen the very next day, a week later, 2 weeks later.
What's the current exemption for these motor vehicle inspections?
So currently it is 150,000 miles or 10 years.
Any idea how many cars on the road are over that percentage that require the inspections?
I do not have that number, sir.
Just voice of experience, thought everything was fine on my F-350, took it in for a safety inspection, had wheel bearing out. So I was like, oh, hadn't heard that yet to make me think about it. So thank you.
Further questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, anybody
Right.
testify in favor of the bill? Go ahead and hop up.
I guess short and sweet, ditto what she said. Edward Shepard, lobbyist, AB, Missouri.
Can you turn that mic on? Thank you, sir.
Uh-oh, now you can hear me. Tony Shepard, lobbyist, AB, Missouri. I'm a retired union. So many letters in back of it. Auto tech for a dealership. Doing state inspections and wasted time on emissions for years. There's a lot of shops that are very good. And then you've got a lot of shops out there that are the bad apples. We got them in darn near every profession there. Currently, you take these vehicles are very well made. Rarely do they have too many breakdowns. I'm sorry about your wheel bearing. Is it a Ford?
50,000 miles, it's okay.
You're good. Yeah. Worked on there for a long time. You've got to take a day off. You know, most of us are working diligently to get your vehicle down there. Good luck getting it on a walk-in basis. Most of your places, you call them up, hey, can I get a state inspection? No. Get an appointment next week. So you take a day off, or you get somebody to drive you down there the night before, you drop it off, you're waiting for the call, you're all nervous, anticipation on that. They call you up, hey, you made it. Okay, you go back down while they're in hours, so you can pay for it or give them a card over the phone if they will. So now you've taken 2 trips to that station, and now you got to go through DMV. Many times, unfortunately, your car's not going to pass. You're going to get a phone call that says, well, you need a set of wiper blades. Okay, that's minor. Well, you need a set of brakes. You need some tires. You need some shocks. There's a lot of mechanical pieces under that vehicle, believe me, I've worked on almost all of them, that are questionable, highly questionable on state inspection standards. Well, you might have a good place, they did you right. You might have a question about that. Oh, we can fix it for $50 to $5,000, whatever. Maybe you want a second opinion. So now you've got to take time off again, pick your car up, take it to your other tech, get a second opinion. Is it right? Is it not? They can do the work, but they can't re-inspect it. You have to take it back to your original state inspection. So now you're into your 3rd trip down there. You need to drop it off. They'll re-inspect it for you at their appointed time. So how much time are we going through here, folks? You've got good people. You've got some really shaky ones out there. I could tell you several of them. I still know them, and we don't associate too much.
Thank you, sir, for your testimony.
That it? I'm done.
Any questions for this witness? Seeing none. Thank you.
Is emissions tied on this too? No, I think it's just safety, isn't it?
Safety inspections.
Okay.
So also please fill out witness form for our records. And also,
Gotcha.
I forgot to mention, we have 8 bills that we're hearing, so we're going to keep it at a 2-minute time
Gotcha.
limit for testimony. So we're going to set a timer, not to be rude, but we have to get through all these bills. So next person in favor, please hop up and proceed when you're ready.
Good afternoon. Casey Garber here on behalf of Carvana. We are in support of this bill and removing some of these burdens on these vehicles. Right now, every motor vehicle dealer is required to do a safety inspection prior to selling that vehicle, regardless of the exemption right now that is 10 years and 150,000 miles. We believe this will be good for our customers and give them a better customer experience, and we're in favor.
Great, thank you. Questions for this witness? Seeing none. Anybody else here to testify in favor?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Mark Feigenbaum with Missouri Farm Bureau, testifying in favor of this bill. We don't believe that vehicle inspections adequately make the roads any safer, and for those reasons, we support removing them.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none. Anybody else here to testify in favor? Anybody here to testify in opposition? Anybody for informational purposes only? Okay, that'll conclude the hearing. Representative, thank you for your time. We're going to go to Senator Weber. Senator Weber, if you want to hop up and propose Senate Bill 1634.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Stephen Weber, representing Boone County, 19th District, here to present Senate Bill 1634. It is a very simple bill. It is a 12-page bill, but the only change is in the first page, line 12. There's one sentence. What it does is right now there is a list of medical professionals that are authorized to distribute and to give out the disability parking placards. That includes, obviously, physicians, chiropractors, PTs, podiatrists, optometrists. This adds occupational therapists to the list of qualified health professionals that can make that recommendation. It does not change the standards in any way. That what you see on line 12 and 13, those 9 words are the entire bill. I've got some experts here that can provide some additional testimony, and happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thanks, Senator. Any questions for the sponsor? Not at the moment. Seeing none. Anybody to testify in favor? Go ahead and hop up here. Please leave a witness form for our records and proceed when you're ready.
That's okay. Hello, my name is Dr. Jackie Sample. I've been an occupational therapist for 25 years plus, and I'm currently the president of the Missouri Occupational Therapy Association. I have a full testimony I'll attach to this witness form. Basically, just want to let you know, occupational therapists are more than trained. We are usually the ones who actually do car mobility, car community mobility, those types of assessments when we are determining where patients are to be discharged. Additionally, our national association actually started a program called CarFit with AAA and AARP, where occupational therapists and occupational therapy students literally hold free events, and people drive through, and we adapt their cars so they can drive safely. So we're more than qualified to determine if there's limitations to people or if they need placards.
Any questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Anybody else here to testify in favor? Yeah, you did a much better job than the bill sponsor. Good job. Any other? That was from Senator Gregory, by the way. It's a quote, direct quote. Anybody else here to support the bill? Anybody in opposition to the bill? Anybody for informational purposes only? That'll conclude the hearing. Thank you, Senator. Next, we'll go to Senator Nicola on Senate Bill 1477.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and senators. For the record, my name is Senator Joe Nicola. I represent the 11th Senatorial District, which is in the northeast corner of Jackson County. As my colleague said, I also have a very simple bill. It's SB 1477. It really brings some clarity. I had this bill last year, sponsored it last year. It was voted out of committee, just didn't make it to the floor for a vote. Motorcyclists in Missouri are already using auxiliary lighting in a variety of colors. In practice, riders aren't being ticketed, but the law still reads only certain colors are allowed. This bill makes the statute match what's already happening, and it avoids confusion down the road. So SB 1477 just does this one thing. It updates the language regarding color of auxiliary lighting on motorcycles. Current law allows auxiliary lighting listed as amber and white. This would change it to any color illumination. There are no changes in safety guardrails. This bill does not open the door to distracting or attention-grabbing lighting. The language still explicitly requires auxiliary lighting to be non-blinking, non-flashing, non-oscillating, and directed toward the engine or drivetrain, so it doesn't interfere with the driver's operation. So SB 1477 is a modest update. It doesn't change the safety rules. It just modernizes the wording and puts clarity into statute. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any
Thank you,
questions.
Senator. Any questions for our resident motorcyclist? Senator Gregory, go ahead.
So we're just talking if I've got a nice big chopper that I can throw some like LED, orange and greens underneath of it, something along those lines?
Correct.
Okay.
And it would have to be pointed towards the engine or drivetrain.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Further questions? Seeing none, thank you, Senator. Anybody here to testify? By the way, we did this bill last year, and I'm pretty sure we just rifled it through the process, so it's pretty simple. Anybody here in favor of the bill, go ahead and hop up here, and please leave your witness form for our records, and proceed when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Joe Woodmer, Legislative Coordinator for Freedom of Road Riders. And I'll be as quick as I can. This bill should have been passed several years ago. Why it's taking so long, I have no idea, but it's simple, it's easy. As the Senator already said, I don't have much to add to it, but we're in full support of this legislation.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple one in my opinion too, Mr.
Yeah.
Whitmer. Any questions for the witness? Thank you for your time, sir. Anybody else here to testify in favor?
Good afternoon again, Chair, Senators, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Shepard, lobbyist, ABATE from Missouri. We originally passed this many years ago with Representative Cornejo. I think it got into like 4 different bills at the time. The House bean counters down there said, yeah, that's good language. Since then, it's come to a discretion of, well, we need to add the 2 words, any color. Real simple bill, ditto what the great senator here has said. To add to that, they need to be pointed engine drivetrain. They're either on or off. You can't have circus lights running down your motorcycle while you're on the road. If you're in the parking lot, do whatever you want. This is not giving that motorcycle your underglow lighting that some folks think it is, where you can turn on a light and it looks like you got an alien spaceship going down the road. No. All we're asking for is conspicuity. I don't get that big a chance to use that word. Visibility is what I call it. You can see us from the front and back, but you can't see us from the side. That's what gives us that. And I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Any questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you. Anybody else here to testify in favor? Anybody in opposition? Anybody for informational purposes? That'll conclude the hearing. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to go to Senator Trent on Senate Bill 1182. Senator, you can proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Curtis Trent, representing Senate District 20. Senate Bill 1182 is designed to give some flexibility to local county commissions to increase the weight of a truck. The reason that this is needed is to facilitate economic development in rural Missouri. There's a lot of projects and things going on around the state that could use this flexibility, and I believe we can trust our local county commissions to use this judiciously. I think some folks will have concerns over deterioration of the roads. Again, I think the local county commission is very in tune with transportation needs and road surfacing needs in their area. And then you'll also probably hear some concerns over competitiveness vis-a-vis railroads. And again, I think that this is something that can lift all boats, especially with prevalence of intermodal transportation in our state. And so I'm hoping that we can find a solution that will enable us to get this done so we can bring more and more profitable projects into our communities around the state. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none. Anybody to testify in favor of the bill? Anybody in opposition to the bill?
Good afternoon, Katie Gamble here on behalf of the Missouri Railroad Association, on record in opposition to the bill. I want to thank the sponsor for talking with us and just for consistency purposes, since we were here a few weeks ago testifying in opposition to another truck weight bill. I'll just reiterate the concerns that we have. We're always concerned when you're looking at shifting rail to truck and what the impact that has on several different issues. But as we look at infrastructure concerns, we already have a lot of bridges that are weight restricted. And the challenge is we don't know, those bridges haven't been tested, even the ones that you can still, there aren't weight restrictions on. They're not necessarily tested for these increased weights. And so working on the infrastructure across the state and figuring out, which bridges can handle these higher roads is going to be a problem. And then, just challenges with increased degradation to our roads. And so we're going to work with the sponsor, and I appreciate your time today.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else here to testify in opposition? Anybody for informational purposes? Hearing none. Senator, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll now go to Senator Lewis. She's not on the committee. We'll knock this one out. Senate Bill 1607, and proceed when you're ready, Senator.
Good afternoon. For the record, I'm State Senator Patty Lewis, representing Senate District 7 in Jackson County. Mr. Chair, congratulations on your new gig. We will miss you, but certainly happy for you. That's all I do speak. That's not for myself. Hey, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to present Senate Bill 1607, which seeks to modify provisions related to professional sports teams' special license plates to include the National Women's Soccer League and the National Women's Basketball Association. This bill was created in mind of the KC Current, but it's also proactive as we get more women's sports teams here in our great state. We would have the opportunity to include WNBA. And I know you've got a lot of bills ahead of you. I had some fun facts about the KC Current, but I'll just save those for later. But I do want to let you know that they originally started playing in Kansas at the men's sporting KC Stadium, and they decided to move and put their home in Kansas City. It is the first women's purpose-built professional stadium in the entire world. The games are amazing. I do have a sub that would just change where the KC Current would like their profits to go to their foundation, and I can pass that to the committee if they decide to move forward with that. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Questions for the sponsor? Seeing none. Anybody here to testify in favor of the bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Sam Panettiere on behalf of the Kansas City Current. Appreciate the senator bringing this bill forward so that Missouri fans can have a chance to support the team. I know this bill passed last year in Kansas, and they just recently adopted about a month ago. They have those out there, so you'll be seeing them on that side of the state line. Appreciate the senator for working with us. The foundation is in formation, but I think by the time that this process plays out, potentially it'll give those folks a chance to do it, and the Kansas City Current Foundation will be established.
Great, thank you. Questions for this witness? Seeing none. Anybody else here to testify in favor? Anybody in opposition? Anybody for informational purposes only? That'll conclude the hearing. Thank you, Senator. All right, I'm gonna hand this over to Senator Gregory, and we're gonna go to my bill, Senate Bill 1657.
All right, public hearing, Senate Bill 1657, presented by Senator Fitzwater. Please proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Travis Fitzwater, Senate District 10. This is, last year we passed the Board of Police Commissioners and the state control of the police department in St. Louis City. This is clarifying language around that, around the legal, who is going to be liable for the civil penalties or the civil pieces that are under review at this point that happened before the city was taken over, the police department was taken over. There's also some clarifying language on budget issues, and this is, there's a lot of negotiations, I think, between the St. Louis Board of Police and the city of St. Louis, and I have experts in here that can kind of talk a little bit about the dynamics of that, and I'm happy to hand the microphone over to them, but this is to trying to clarify a couple of the issues that they're seeing as they roll out the Board of Police Commissioners changes. It's a significant change, obviously, so clarifying some of that is been important, and glad to bring up some witnesses here to talk about those dynamics. Otherwise, happy to take any questions.
Any questions from the other two members on the committee? Seeing none, we'll go through testimony in favor of Senate Bill 1657 first. In favor.
Thank you, Senator Gregory. Brian Milliken here. I am General Counsel and the committee. Brian Milliken here for St. Louis Police Officers Association, General Counsel for that group. We are testifying in favor of Senate Bill 1657, and just to expand a little bit on what Senator Fitzwater said, the first change really has to do with allowing the board to transfer funds within the budget that's already been allocated for that year. Currently, the process is the board has to send a request to the Board of Aldermen for the City of St. Louis 3 weeks in advance of their meetings, and then that goes through E&A, and they can either approve it, ask for more information, and there's been a big delay. And let me just give you one example. There was a need to shift some funds for overtime, to pay overtime in a certain month, and they went through the process, but the Board of Aldermen came back and asked for more and additional information. And so in order to run the department correctly, we believe the board needs authority to move money around within their own budget. Again, this is money that's already been allocated. They're not asking for additional money here in this particular change. The other change has to do with, or one of the other changes has to do with civil liabilities. After the board took control of the police department, the city took the position in pending cases that the board essentially assumed all liabilities of the city. And there was language in the bill, and there is language in the statute now that states that the board assumes contractual liabilities and other liabilities, but that is not civil liabilities. And civil liabilities are different because they are actually in the name of the city. Whenever a lawsuit's filed against a policeman, in a case, the city's also named, but the board is not. And so there was a decision handed down by Judge Devine in the Eastern District of Missouri that essentially said the same thing, that the language in the statute only obligated the board to cover contractual obligations and utilities and the like, and that was the language in that case. And so what this language does is essentially cleans up any, it allows for a more equal interpretation of it so that there can't be an argument made that the board is somehow liable for civil liabilities and litigation. The other change is that the transition director's position was to end on July 1st, 2026, but that's extended out a year to July 1st, 2027 to allow him to complete his work.
Thank you for your testimony. Any questions? Senator Washington.
Hi, could you repeat, hi, thanks for coming down. Can you repeat that case that you were talking about? What is that case?
Yeah, it's Clark versus City of St. Louis.
And when was that filed?
That was, it was just The entire case was just kicked on summary judgment. Let me give you just the cause number. That might
Thank
be
you.
easier. It's 4:21-CV-00788.
And is that in St. Louis City Court?
That was
I
in-
mean, is that in the Circuit Court of St. Louis?
It's actually in the Federal District Court, Eastern District of Missouri.
Okay, and let me ask you, when was it filed?
The litigation, the lawsuit, I believe, I was not involved in a lawsuit, but it was filed prior to, I do think that it was filed prior to state control. Because
Okay, you knew where I was going with that, right?
how that happened is the city tried to substitute the state in for the city at that time.
Okay, so now my next question is, some of what you're asking, why is it okay for you all, for the Board of Police Commissioners of St. Louis to not be liable for civil lawsuits when this Board of Police Commissioners in Kansas City is? See, everything you're asking for, we already have precedent. And that precedent in Kansas City has at least been going on for 60 years, because I'm almost 60. So I want to know, you know, you guys came up here and used the argument of Kansas City to get us to pass this, and now you're trying to do the exact opposite of how Kansas City has done this. So why would the city be liable for your civil litigation lawsuits as opposed to the Board of Police Commissioners when it's the Board of Police Commissioners whose decision it is to settle?
Are you talking about after the board took?
I'm talking about what you just said. You said you wanted this, that the city should, that people sue the police department, which is not true. They will sue the governmental entity, which is now the St. Louis, I don't know what y'all call y'all's, but let's just, the Board of Police Commissioners. They won't be suing the city of St. Louis. They will be suing the Board of Police Commissioners. So what I'm asking you is, why should those settlements or lawsuits expenses not come from the police budget?
So I think it's, what they're trying to do is just put it back to the way it was prior to,
No,
well, okay.
go ahead. Prior to being
Prior to-
under police, under
Prior to
state
the
control?
city- Prior to the city taking control in 2012, the arrangement at that time was that the city was covering any civil liabilities of the police board.
In addition to whatever the police department's budget is?
That was correct, that's correct.
And were they under Board of Police Commissioners at that time?
They were under a board of police commissioners at that time.
Okay, so you want to go back to, let's say, how much is the budget for the police department?
I don't know, ma'am, I can't, I'm not.
Now, who are you with again? I'm
with the
sorry.
St. Louis Police Officers Association.
But you don't know what the
I don't-
budget is, and you
I don't
came to
rep-
testify on their behalf?
I don't represent the board.
Okay, no,
And
no,
so
no,
it
no,
would
well,
just be
I'm
a
not
guess.
asking what the board's budget is.
Yeah.
I asked what the police department's budget is.
It would be a guess, and I can't answer that.
Well, give me a guess.
I'm not going to guess, because I don't know.
Okay, well, let's say it's $50 million, right?
Okay, sure.
So what you're proposing is, we need $50 million and all that fund, the majority of that comes from the city anyway, right? That's
It
city
does come
allocated
from this-
funding, right?
From this general revenue of the city, that's.
All right, so I'm gonna give you $50 million. Now, you go out, and I can say his name now, and you be a Blaine Newton of St. Louis, and you kill 3 people, and you throw a 19-year-old girl that weighs about 100 pounds, 9 months pregnant on the ground, and you beat some other people, and they sue, and we end up liable for a $10 million settlement. You're saying that shouldn't come out that $50 million that we already gave you, but it should come from other general revenue from the city.
That's correct.
Why? Because ain't nobody that's not a police person got nothing to do with what Blaine Newton did. Now, remember, he Blaine Newton of St. Louis, and I'm not apologizing for using his name. He quit his job. This is all public information that Officer Newton did. So what you're asking appears to me, and if not, please explain it to me, is that other city agencies should now also be liable for the misdeeds of the police department above and beyond the police department's allocated city budget.
What I'm saying is that we support the language in the bill that affirms Judge Devine's order that says that the city of St. Louis is the appropriate party and is the liable party, not the Board
But
of
Judge
Police.
Devine's order was based on a lawsuit that did not involve the Board of Police Commissioners.
That's correct.
Okay, so you said you don't know what the budget is? Why are you asking for more money then?
I'm not asking for more.
You are asking. That is exactly what you're asking, sir. Because if you're already getting $50 million, that's our number we playing with, right? You're already getting $50 million out of the city budget. And I'm sorry if I seem aggressive. I just walked
okay.
in. I'm not, everybody I have not questioned you before, but in my 9 years here, folks know I
I've seen
tend to
it
turn
before.
into a litigator here. You are asking for additional money. Because I don't think in a straight line like everybody else. I look at how things are impacted and how they impact outside of those statutory books. Because you're already getting $50 million, and so any misdeeds or anything you're doing should come out of that $50 million. So for instance, if I was an officer or a employee of the department and I filed a lawsuit for, I don't know, age discrimination or sexual harassment, and we come to a settlement, that money comes from where? You want it to come from the city's budget and not the police budget, right?
Again, if it's a civil liability like that, it would come from the city's, it would be outside of the allocated revenue, general revenue of 24% in 2026.
So again, what that is doing is saying the treasurer's department or the water department or the parks department, they all have to pay for the misdeeds of the police department. Because if I have to take $10 million from them, from that part of the budget to pay your lawsuits, then that's taking away from the city's other allocated funds to other departments. You don't see
Is
that?
that a question?
Yeah, I asked you earlier to explain to me why that's necessary, and I don't. And this is where I'm gonna get a little rough.
Go ahead.
Please don't tell me we just want to follow Judge Devine's order. I want to know why your police department needs more money, especially since you don't know how much money they get now.
What we're asking for is the allocation to run the department, and the civil liabilities, whether you like Judge Devine's order or not, are separate and apart from that.
No, they're not. Any entity in America, your misdeeds and legal costs are included in your budget. I mean, let's go back to, let's use McDonald's. It's a corporation. This is not a corporation, but it is an entity to be run the same way. The little old lady who spilled the hot coffee on her kitty cat or whatever, that's part of their entire budget. And so each department, let me go back. Let me ask you this. Does the park department get to come back to the city and say, give me some extra money?
I don't know what the park department does.
So why should the police department be treated any differently than any other department in the city of St. Louis? And the reason I'm asking you this only is because I'm a Kansas City and I ain't from St. Louis. And so our money comes from, if we give you $50 million and you kill somebody, like, or whatever you did, that $10.6 million that you paid out this year come from that $50 million. You need to manage your $50 million. And what you're asking is saying, hey, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do. We don't care. You can be reckless. You can throw somebody in the ground. You can sexually harass somebody. You can fire somebody for age. But we're not responsible for any of that. The city has to take care of our misdoings. I'm going to be done here because I'm really calm today. And I'm proud of me. But I do want you to kind of get back with me on what your budget numbers are. And while you're doing that, I also want to know how much you've paid out in civil lawsuits each of the last 5 years. You don't have to do it now. Just get back with me.
Somebody from the board give you that information.
Oh, I don't want the board because now you're saying the board ain't responsible. So get it from because you just told me that you don't represent the board.
I don't represent.
So you represent who again?
St. Louis Police Officers.
Then have them give me the numbers.
Okay, I'll
Thank
ask
you.
them to do that.
Seeing as I have no questions, thank you for your testimony.
Okay.
Any next witness in support, Senate Bill 1657.
Good afternoon, committee. My name is Martin Garcia. I'm an active St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department police officer, and I'm the current president of the St. Louis Police Officers Association, and we are here to offer testimony in support of 1657.
Senator Washington, do you have a question?
I do.
Please proceed.
How much is your current budget? If you don't know, you can say, I don't know.
160-ish
Million? I was way off in my hypothetical, wasn't I? But we're going to still play with the $50 million. Why y'all need more money?
Well, I mean, the purpose of this, as I understand it, is to affirm the federal judgment that...
I don't want to talk about the federal judgment, especially since a lawsuit was filed prior to you with the Board of Police Commissioners. So can you please, if you don't have an answer that does not involve that lawsuit, then just tell me, say, Senator, I ain't got nothing.
If so, let me ask you this. If somebody sues the police department prior to last spring, and now the Board of Police Commissioners is in charge of the police department, where are they going to get their money?
If that lawsuit was filed prior to last spring, then I'm okay with you that comes from the city. But this statute will also go forward. So if they, since we did what y'all asked us to do this, right? Y'all asked us to have state control. So since you've had state control, any lawsuit from that happy day should come from your budget. So I'm okay with prior to state control, and I see the mayor over here, she probably don't like this, but prior to state control, I do believe you are right. That probably should come from the city. I don't know what your union contract is and none of that, so I'm just going off the cuff. But since that day, let's say it was, I think didn't we do an emergency clause on that? Did we do an emergency clause on that? So let's say June 1st. From June 1st forward, no, the city is not responsible for paying for your misdeeds. I just don't. I'm gonna kill the bill. That's usually something that Senator may say. But I gotta tell you, I'm not anti-officer. I totally understand. But I live in Kansas City, and our board, they get their money, and they have to allocate from what they already get. They do not come back to the city and say, "Oh, we spent $10.6 million this year on wrongful." On excessive force and wrongful death, give us some more money. They don't do that. And so you ask for what they have. I think that if we're going to do that, then let's just be the same. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Next witness in favor, Senate Bill 1657. Seeing none. First witness for opposition testimony. Come on up. Mrs. Mayor, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, members of the Senate Transportation, Infrastructure, and Public Safety Committee. I want to thank you for the opportunity to weigh in. My name is Kara Spencer, and I am the mayor of the city of St. Louis. I'll leave a letter here, but I want to express my strong opposition on behalf of the city of St. Louis and its residents to Senate Bill 1657. This legislation, while addressing police governance, also introduces significant additional financial burden for the city of St. Louis. And it also severely compromises transparency and accountability, financial accountability, with regards to sound fiscal management of not only the police department's budget, but the city as a whole. As mayor and as a citizen of St. Louis, I have been staunchly in favor of local control. That being said, the city of St. Louis has been a workable partner through the transition here. I am a member and I serve as a member of the Board of Police Commissioners. And I am committed to continuing that process and working to ensure that not only the city of St. Louis, but the police department has good governance. And the financial well-being of the police department is important to me as mayor, as is the financial well-being of the city as a whole.
The bill has two main components, of which I have major concerns. The first is related to the litigation liability. Senator Washington was mentioning some of this. And Senator, you don't upset me by suggesting or indicating that the city of St. Louis should have financial responsibility for matters of litigation that occurred under local control. In fact, I agree with you, and I have been, as mayor, working in earnest with the Attorney General to develop and sign an MOU to establish just that. As you point out, the policies and procedures of any department or any entity, the governance that directs them could and sometimes does result in litigation and financial obligation as a result of that. And I do believe that falls under the responsibility of the governance. And so we agree with that, and we are workable partners in that. And I believe that therefore, that component of this legislation is unnecessary, as we are in agreement, essentially, with how to really divide those responsibilities between the state, between the state board and the city of St. Louis. To answer your question about the budget, last year's budget for the police department was $208 million. We have a proposed budget for the police department of this year of $212 million. This is something that would allow the police department to continue to operate in the way in which it always has. Now, a chunk of that does not fall under the statutory requirement, in that some of those funds are directed for pension costs, our retiree health insurance, which under state law, you may or may not know this, but our police department, our police officers under state law now have the ability to get health insurance paid for life, which is an enormous cost to the city of St. Louis. Those costs are not included in the $188 million proposed just straight budget to the police department. But one of the other component here that I want to touch on that I think really has some challenges for the city of St. Louis and for me as mayor is the direction to be able to move budgetary items without going before the Board of E&A. The attorney for the Police Officers Association, I think, mischaracterized how that process works. The Board of E&A has not, in any case, held up any issues as it relates to the budget since the transition has been made. Once the attorney for the board was directed how to put initiatives before the Board of E&A, and I have to admit he did not understand that at first. We were happy to help address those issues and get issues before the Board of E&A reliably. There have not been any challenges, with the exception of one, which was last week. An issue didn't get noticed properly. I acknowledged that as the chair of the Board of E&A and was willing and have the legal authority to move things forward that weren't properly addressed, but I chose not to, particularly because that particular issue before the Board of E&A related to the other issue, which is that of litigation. Moving funds within the police budget that are set aside for litigation for other matters is fiscally irresponsible. And we need a level of transparency to the public who pays the police budget, regardless of what the number is, if it's 50, 150, or 212, as I've proposed for the police department. We need transparency and we need good governance. And I, as mayor, am here not only in opposition to this, but in strong support of our police department. Our police department does a phenomenal job to protect our community. And they do deserve a robust budget. And they do deserve the raises that the board put forward. But so too do other workers in other departments. As mayor, it is my job to represent not just the police department, who works hard and under very dangerous circumstances for its citizens, but for every other department that works on behalf of our citizens. As mayor, I have the duty to balance the needs of our citizenry, those who visit, and those who invest in our community. And in order to do so, we have to look at our budget not just in a silo, but as a finite amount of revenue that come in from a whole host of streams of revenue and can support our community and support the services, including the police services that our citizens need to have a city that serves them. And so I'm happy to take questions, but I do want to point out that that this has been a transition that's required a lot of work on the part of the board, the appointed board, the attorney, myself and my office and my staff. And my ask is to let us get through this year to figure out the bumps of the road that we have, and certainly there have been, but to continue to strip away the authority of the city of St. Louis through this is not going to help us get to the collaborative goal that we need to be at, to be able to work together. This is not my first time in Jeff City. As the mayor of the city of St. Louis, I understand how important the state of Missouri is. The state of Missouri has been a phenomenal partner to St. Louis, particularly in this last year, as we have been suffering through one of the biggest challenges that our city's ever faced, the tornado on May 16th. I want to thank the Senate, I want to thank our governor, and I want to thank our House of Representatives, our senators across the board for recognizing St. Louis in its time of need. Missouri State has been a phenomenal and will, I believe, earnestly continue to be a phenomenal partner. And I know that the initiative to put the police department under a state-appointed board is not something I agreed with, but I know that it was born out of a desire to see St. Louis thrive. And I appreciate that intent, and I recognize it. And as mayor, I want to work with you all to ensure that it doesn't do harm to our city, but moves us forward.
Thank you for your testimony and questions. Senator Washington, please proceed, and we've got about 20 minutes left.
I ain't gonna take no 20 minutes.
Hey, I'm just warning you.
Thank you for being here, Mayor.
Friendly reminder.
I do have a couple of questions. You said last year, fiscal year 26 was 208 million and then this year is 212.
That's right.
Do you happen to know how much, did they have anything left over last year?
They did have some funds left over last year.
Do you know how much?
I don't have that figure in front of me, Senator.
But you can get that to me?
I can
Or
get
your
that to
trusty
you.
handy staff, Casey?
Yeah, Casey Milberg, my chief of staff, yes, we can get that for you.
Yeah, you stole her. Y'all stole her from us. So.
You know, I have to give credit to my predecessor for stealing Casey Milberg, but I had the
pleasure
of keeping her.
Okay. Now, I'm in Kansas City. We ain't got all them boards and stuff y'all got like that. What is the Board of E&A?
The Board of E&A is the Board of Estimate and Apportionment. It comprises the mayor, the president of the Board of Aldermen, and the comptroller. And we hold essentially the financial purse strings for the city. And all financial matters just, go before the Board of E&A for approval.
And then after you approve or disapprove, does that go to the full Board of Aldermen or no?
It does.
Okay, so you all have a middle stance because we ain't got that many folks like that. We just go from the board to the council.
That's right.
Okay, thank you. I'm not done. What is the maximum age for how old does how long can an officer work? Like what age does he have to retire?
It's my understanding right now that an officer can work until 65.
Okay, and are you guys experiencing a shortage of officers, or how are you handling that?
We are experiencing a shortage of officers. That's right. Right now we have a authorized strength of over 1,000, about 1,100, and I believe as of yesterday or maybe Friday we had about 871 officers on staff. So there's a big difference there, and the numbers of police officers serving in St. Louis has been going down. And that is a challenge.
Do you know why that is?
I think there's a host of reasons. We have a salary that does not match the rest of the region, and that does weigh in. However, we have a benefits package that far exceeds almost anywhere in the state of Missouri. I would wager in the United States we have a phenomenal set of benefits for our police officers. And That does weigh in, particularly with officers as they're choosing whether or not to stay on the force in the city of St. Louis or move somewhere else. And these are questions we should be asking ourselves. How do we make sure that we have a salary that can attract and retain our police officers while recognizing the enormous cost of the pension plan that we have and the benefits that we have?
Now, the officers, they don't have to reside in the city of St. Louis, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And so was that, I know when that was done, was that something that helped with officers? And maybe you're not the right person for that question.
I'm not the right person for that. I do know that the number of police officers have continued to decline because of it, even after that. Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned pay. How much is your starting salary?
I don't have that starting salary
But you,
figure.
but your wonderful chief of staff will get that information to me.
We will get that for you, Senator.
Okay.
I don't have the exact figure in front of me. We just implemented raises that were put forward by the Board of Police Commissioners of about 7%.
Okay, next question, and my last question. So the line item situation, I think this bill would allow the Board of Police Commissioners to kind of change line items as need be and not have to come before ENA, right?
That is my understanding of the bill. That's right, Senator.
Is there any other department in St. Louis that is allowed to do that?
There is not. No, absolutely
Okay.
not.
Are you aware if the state allows that to happen with
I am
our
not.
state agencies? You're probably not on our appropriations or anything, so you wouldn't know that.
I am not aware of any department in any city in the state of Missouri that allows for that.
Thank
I mean,
you.
these are taxpayer dollars, Senator, and I think it's important that the taxpayers and the public are able to view those expenditures and how they change over time. And look, it's not my desire to, as you pointed out, to lord over them or to direct them. And we do want to get to an agreement where the
Who pays for that, and what is your opinion on extending the transition director? And I'm going to say past a year. Maybe we don't come back every year and ask for that. But what is your position on extending the transition director, and who is currently paying them?
I don't. I believe the state is paying for that. I don't know that I have an opinion on that. To say one way or the other, I think that person has been helpful and certainly not a hindrance. So I would welcome the extension of that contract. However, the board members and I think the attorney play a very key role as well. And so I would point you to those expenditures as well. When it comes to the litigation matters, I will say the city puts aside $6 million a year for lawsuits. 2 we earmark for general function of the city, and 4 we earmark for the police department. We had several large settlements, and I believe we have between 50 and 70 cases outstanding that are considerable. You may have seen recently an $18 million judgment. It was reduced to just over 8. But these are judgments that often carry very, very significant costs, and they are a large burden to us. I have a city staff, TO, hiring sheet that allows for 6,000 city workers. We have about 4,000 right now. So there's a 33% vacancy rate across city departments. The police department's very similar to that. And our budgets are very tight. We don't have a lot of carryover, particularly once we've implemented raises as put forward by the police board. And so we're operating on very, very thin margins, and we need a level of accountability and reliability and consistency in order to keep the staff for all of our city departments, including those who plow the streets, fill our potholes, and do the things the city needs to do to keep its citizens happy and to paying taxes within the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri.
Thank you.
All right. No questions from the rest of the committee. Thank you for being here. Next witness in opposition. Anyone here for informational purposes? All right, seeing none, Senator, any closing comments? Senator Henderson, are you in? Oh, that'll conclude the hearing on Senate Bill 1657. Okay, I will go next and turn the committee back over to the chair.
All right, Senator Gregory, Senate Bill 1080.
All right, for the record, Senate Bill 1080. I'm Senator Curtis Gregory, 21st District. Senate Bill 1080, very simple. Currently, State Highway Patrol must receive specific appropriation from the General Assembly for any single vehicle or boat purchase in excess of $100,000. This would increase the threshold to $500,000. I think this is very much needed because, as I was talking with the troopers, the incident that happened down in Christian County, they used an armored vehicle that cost about $400,000. Had that been damaged at that particular time and the fact that it was inoperable and needed to be salvaged, they would then be without that very important piece of equipment to the rest of the year until the General Assembly was in doing budget again and was able to appropriate monies for them to replace that. So I think it's very much needed to make sure we're keeping our boys in blue well protected and with the equipment that they need to safely perform their jobs. I'll take any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Senator.
That's great.
Anybody here in favor of this bill?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Lieutenant Alex Vivas, Missouri State Highway Patrol Chief of Staff, on here on behalf of the Department of Public Safety and the Missouri State Highway Patrol to speak in support of Senate Bill 1080. The Senator did a good job of explaining it. It's to increase our authority for spending for special equipment or special vehicles from $100,000 to $500,000. With the cost of those equipments going up over the last 20 years, it's much needed for us to have that authority bumped up to $500,000. With that, I'll take any questions.
Seeing no questions, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Anybody else here to testify in favor? Anybody for informational purposes? I'm sorry, anybody in opposition? Anybody now for informational purposes only? Hearing none, that'll conclude the hearing. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Senator Henderson, you're up next. Senate Bill 1503.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. For the record, Mike Henderson, State Senator from the 3rd Senatorial District, here to present Senate Bill 1503, watercraft certification fees. Currently, there is a fee collected for watercraft certifications. The first $2 million of the collected fees go into the General Revenue Fund, and the remaining monies go into the Water Patrol Division Fund. And Senate Bill 1503 would allow all the monies collected to go into the Water Patrol Division Fund and use only for Water Patrol Division. It is important to note that this is not a new fee, but a fee that is already being collected, just moving what the fund fee would go into. And with that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Senator, do you have any questions? I do not. No questions for you, Senator. Anybody here to testify in favor?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Lieutenant Alex Vivas, Chief of Staff, Missouri State Highway Patrol, here to testify in support of Senate Bill 1503. Again, this is needed to increase the to have the funds that were intended to be utilized to for the Water Patrol Division, to fund that Water Patrol Division, so those funds to not be going into GR and to go directly to the Water Patrol Division. It's not a fee increase. It's to make sure those funds that were intended to be used for the Water Patrol Division to fund those necessary functions that they complete to be able to utilize for those purposes.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Anybody else here to testify in favor?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Kaina Iman on behalf of the Missouri Canoe and Floaters Association. We would love to see these funds actually go to the Water
Oh
Patrol.
my gosh, those people, they pay dues, like membership dues?
They do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
There's an association for everything. I'm glad you're a
gonna
great
invite you
lauders
to
for
come
them.
on
That-
their float.
Yeah, I would love, I mean, it's a fun time, floating
Yeah.
down the river. It's wonderful. Senator, do you have any questions for the Canoe and Floaters Association?
Do they have big enough life preservers for me?
Yeah, I don't know. We could probably strap two around you, though.
Senators, head to Steelville, and there'll be plenty of places for you.
That's right. His backyard.
Thank you, Simon.
Okay.
Anybody else here to testify in favor of the bill? Anybody in opposition? Anybody for informational purposes? That'll conclude the hearing. Thank you, Senator. I now make a motion to leave the committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're done.